Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, still can't remember what day I said it was on Tuesday without football. Let's see, we're going to go through it every time unless I'm just going to double check one time. But yeah, we're going to go through it. Let's see, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, all right, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61. Day 61 without football, you guys. All right. It's been tough. It's been rough, all right. I do miss football. Haven't played Madden in a while. I'm sure you guys, if you're diehards, you're out there playing Madden or something. You might be a Cleveland Browns fan, and Madden's kind of like your saving grace when you're going through an 0-16 season or 1-32 in the last 2 years, or 1-31 it was. Yeah, 1-31, I should say. Sorry, shortcut. I gave you guys an extra loss. My fault. All right, but either way, I mean, we're getting through it. We're doing well. It's been fun. We're doing well on the show. I've enjoyed talking here with you guys, and I'm going to enjoy it today. All right? So believe it or not, we have someone back in the league, a quarterback, all right? His name is RG3. Robert Griffin III is back. Going to be the backup for the Ravens this season. Very interested to see what goes on there, all right? But yeah, that's we're going to start off with the first segment. Isn't it kind of crazy, the NFL offseason, man? We're starting off the first segment talking about a backup quarterback or a quarterback who's signed to be a backup. But nonetheless, that's what we're doing. We're going to talk more about the Ravens, too. Don't worry. All right, for the second and third segments, not sure which order I'm going to do it, but there's been talk. I've been seeing David Johnson's name come up. I guess his wrist is 100% again. So now you have people talking about who's the better running back, like who's the best running back in the league. Is it David Johnson? I'm going to give my thoughts on that. We're going to talk running backs. And for the third or second segment, whichever one I decide, we're going to talk about quarterback draft classes, okay? This draft class has obviously been very intriguing as far as which quarterbacks are going where, as far as the ability and all that. So we're going to talk about different draft classes that have been good. Talked about them all. Talked about the quarterbacks. Just pretty much give an overview on the best QB draft classes so far in the history of the NFL. All right, so we'll be doing that. And then for the fourth segment, as we always do, we're going to be talking about whatever else is going on in the world of sports because that's what we do. All right. So it's going to be a fun show. We're going to enjoy it. Like I said, day 61, I think it is, without football. And I don't know. We're getting through it. Draft should be coming up soon. A few more weeks, hopefully. Honestly, I need OTAs to come. I need something. All right? I need OTAs, something. Give me the Alliance of American Football now. All right? And I'm actually looking forward to that because of the fact that's going to fill the gap of what we got going on right now. There will be football to watch. I hope they get maybe some guys out of the league and all that, just so there's recognizable names out there, just to follow it a little bit more, you know? Because I know they do got old NFL players helping out with the league as far as helping build it up and all that, but it's just a matter of I don't want to see John Doe from D3 school, example, whatever, playing, all right? I want to see guys who are out of the league right now. See what Devin Hester's doing, okay? See what he's doing. Maybe Michael Vick wants to come play. Who knows? Maybe you could get Johnny. You got a TV deal. That's going to be on CBS, which is very exciting. I wonder if they're going to do it on the normal CBS channel or if it's going to be on the CBS Sports Network channel. I'm not sure. That's actually kind of interesting to me, but maybe we'll just talk about the Alliance of American Football in the fourth segment because, we like to have fun for that segment. But either way, yeah, I think we're going to do that. I'm going to look at players out of the league right now. We're going to talk about which players I'd like to see in there. All right, let's see. Is there any research I could do that? Like top players that maybe Vince Young can. No, Vince Young I think is retired. We'll figure it out. It'll be fun. So we'll be doing that for the fourth segment. Okay, that's typical offseason talk right there. But either way, let's get into the whole RG3 thing. Okay, Robert Griffin III at one point set the NFL on fire, playing well for the Redskins. I think he won what? Offensive Rookie of the Year his first year, obviously. Second year, turns out that the Washington Redskins don't know how to take care of a field properly, so Robert Griffin shreds his knee apart there in a playoff game, I think it was. And that's the saddest thing, too. Robert Griffin III was so good, all right? And we're going to talk about his draft class, too. Maybe next segment, maybe third segment, depending on when I want to do it, but we're doing that. I mean, he was very good, okay? Dare I say it, if Robert Griffin III does not get hurt, he becomes a top 10 quarterback in this league. Maybe even top 5. He was just that good, all right? No doubt. Took the Washington Redskins to the playoffs. Think about it. Think about the way they've been ran the last few years. The Washington Redskins, he took that team to the playoffs. And that's one thing, too. Think about the fact that the Washington Redskins at one point had RG3 and they had Kirk Cousins. And now they have none of them. All right? How do you mess that up? Honestly. How do you go from having two very good quarterbacks, and very good meaning not great, but very good, to, I don't know, it's kind of weird, because Alex Smith, I'm not trying to downplay him, because I really like Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith was a top 10 quarterback in the league last year. He was that good. All right? But you go from having Robert Griffin III, who could get you to the playoffs, all right? Then you refuse to put talent around Kirk Cousins for some reason, so he really couldn't do nothing. And now he's over here getting paid on a Super Bowl contending team, and you get stuck with Alex. And again, love Alex Smith. I think he's a very good quarterback. Is Alex Smith better than Kirk Cousins? Did the Redskins upgrade at quarterback this year? Honestly, did they? You know what? I got to pull up their stats right now. I'm intrigued. Let's see. Hold on. All right. So, obviously, Alex Smith has been in the league a whole lot longer than Kirk Cousins has. All right. Alex Smith's been in the league from 2005. Since 2005, I should say. Kirk Cousins has been in the league since 2012. Okay. And let's see. Let's compare from 2012. Actually, Kirk Cousins' first full year was 2015. So I guess let's go from when Kirk Cousins actually became a starter to now, and we'll do that. So from 2015 on. 2015, Alex Smith started 16 games for the Chiefs, went 11-5, 65% completion percentage. Cousins actually had almost 70% completion percentage. Let's see, they got that in bold, so that must have been like best in the league that year. Let's see, Smith threw for nearly 3,500 yards. Cousins threw for 4,100 yards. Smith threw 20 touchdowns, 7 picks. Cousins threw 29 touchdowns, 11 picks. Maybe I was wrong. 2016, Washington made the playoffs that year too. So Alex, wait, Kirk Cousins went 8-7-1 and made the playoffs. They made the playoffs with a tie. How do I not remember that? 8-7-1. That's disgusting. Nonetheless, though. Let's see. Yeah, they both made the playoffs 2016. Let's see. Smith's completion percentage was 67%. Cousins was 67% also. Smith threw for 3,500 yards. Cousins nearly threw for 5,000. All right, I might have been wrong on this one. Smith threw for 15 touchdowns, 8 picks. Cousins threw 25 touchdowns, 12 picks. All right, I think I have my idea who's a better quarterback. Let's go 2017. Smith made the playoffs. Cousins did not. Smith threw for 67% completion percentage. Cousins was 64. Smith threw for 4,000 yards. Cousins also did, but 4,093. Smith's was 4,042. Let's see. Smith threw 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Cousins threw 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So I'll go out and say that Smith's last year in 2017 was better than Cousins' 2017 year, but I need to say I was wrong. Cousins is the better quarterback. All right. But either way, that whole thing was just about Washington botching what they had with those two guys, Griffin and Cousins. And now, like I said, getting back to Robert Griffin III, backing up for the Ravens, does he have any shot at playing this year? All right. And the Ravens as a whole this season are going to be going down. It's going to be tough for John Harbaugh, I think, to stay in Baltimore if he doesn't make the playoffs. Like we've mentioned before, all right, you had the owner coming out saying that the thought of firing Harbaugh did cross his mind since they did make playoffs. If that thought's rolling through your mind because you didn't make playoffs, imagine next year. He says that Harbaugh's job isn't going to depend on him making the playoffs, which is an absolute lie, I feel. So I really don't see a way in where Harbaugh comes back if he doesn't make the playoffs. Because the Ravens are a team where they really shot themselves in the foot by giving Flacco a long-term deal. I'll continue to say it. Worst thing that could have happened to that franchise was Flacco winning a Super Bowl with him. But now it's a matter of Flacco has continually gotten worse year after year. And is this going to be the year he gets benched? And is Robert Griffin III going to get some time? And I'm curious to see how Robert Griffin III would play. All right. The guy has been a bag of glass since he got hurt in Washington. Tore his knee. Has hurt his shoulder. I think any other injuries that's gone on? I think he might have hurt his ankle once. All right. So it's just I'm curious to see. I feel like this is a tryout year for RG3. Okay. Let's say he does get some play time and he plays well. It's only a 1-year deal, so I think he can go be a starter somewhere else. But it's just a matter of, can he stay healthy? All right, that's the biggest thing. Can RG3 stay healthy? He's got a whole year. He took a whole year off. All right, he's missed 2 years in his career, 6 years of career so far. I missed 2015, I think it was, or missed 2014, missed 2016. No, missed 2015, missed 2017, I should say. All right, so we'll see if he's healthy. And I think there is a good chance that we see RG3 because of the fact that Joe Flacco just isn't good anymore. All right? And was Joe Flacco ever good? Great? Was he ever elite? I'm not too sure. All right? Let me see if I can pull up Joe Flacco's stats real quick. Because the fact of the matter is, Joe Flacco's getting paid like a top quarterback, and he just simply hasn't played like one in years. All right? So let's see. Let's look at his stats real quick. He threw for 4,000 yards in 2016, so that's pretty decent, I guess. But for the money he's getting paid, probably went a little bit more. So he's been in the league since 2008. He's been a starter since. His first year, he went 11-5, 60% completion percentage, nearly 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 12 picks. So rookie numbers right there, except for the record. That was obviously great. Next year, in 2009, he goes 9-7, 63% completion percentage, 3,600 yards, 21 touchdowns, 12 picks. Wait, you're the one in the Super Bowl, what, 2012, I think it is? I gotta double check that too. I want to go from when they won the Super Bowl. All right, so that was 2013. That year, or was it 2012? I think it was the 2012 year. He went 10-6. The beginning, like, there was a 2012, 2013 season. 10-6, 60% completion percentage, 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 10 picks. So since then, 2013, they go 8-8. 2013 they go 8-8. 59% completion percentage, 19 touchdowns, 22 picks, nearly 4,000 yards, threw for 3,900. 2014, they go 10-6, 62% completion percentage, 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 12 picks. And since then, it's been pretty bad. 3-7 as a starter in 2015, only played 10 games that year. 64% completion percentage, didn't even hit 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. People say, oh, yeah, you got hurt. That's why. His numbers were already bad before that. 2016, they go 8-8, 20 touchdowns, 15 picks, 4,000 yards. And then this past year was just brutal by him. 9-7, 64% completion percentage, 3,100 yards, 18 touchdowns, 13 picks. The Ravens, I mean, they're not like garbage numbers, but they're not as good as you'd want them to be for the amount you're paying them. So I do see a scenario where RG3 does come in and play this year. And like I said, it's just a matter of how well he does. It's going to be a bad year for the Ravens, I feel. So we'll see about it. But that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking. What are we talking? Let's talk running backs in the league. All right, so we'll be doing that. And for the third segment, we'll talk about the best QB draft classes, give my thoughts on all the QBs that are brought up. And then for the fourth segment, we're going to talk a bit about the Alliance of American Football. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. We spent that last segment basically talking about RG3. We talked about Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith a bit because that's what we do in the offseason. And we talked about pretty much just what's, I guess, just give my overview for RG3 this season, I guess you'd say. All right, so we did that. For this segment, we're going to be talking running backs. All right, everyone's favorite to talk about. Let's talk about who's better, who's not. Let me give you my top 5 right now, okay? Let me see. Let me go through each team first, make sure I'm not leaving anyone off before I do this. So, obviously, Ezekiel Elliott's in there. Okay. Then, no one in the NFC North. No one in the NFC South. I would not put Ingram in there yet. NFC West, Todd Gurley. And this isn't in any order, too. I'm going through divisions right now. AFC North, Le'Veon. Let's see. Actually, NFC West, David Johnson. I forgot about him. And then I guess in the AFC East, I'll go LaShawn McCoy. Okay? I think those are my top 5 running backs. Leonard Fournette is going to be up there one day. No doubt. Anyone else that I'm missing? Kareem Hunt maybe could eventually make his way up there. But yeah, so Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, LaShawn McCoy, Ezekiel Elliott. Those are my top 5 running backs in the league right now. Okay? People will have Ezekiel Elliott as their number 1 running back. People will have David Johnson. People will have Le'Veon Bell. I think that's the 3 right there that people more so argue about as far as who's the best running back in the league. Okay, David Johnson came into the league in 2015, I think it was. Yeah, came in the league 2015. He played 16 games, ran for 581 yards, 8 touchdowns. 457 reception yards, 36 receptions, 4 touchdowns there. So in his rookie year, he had 12 total touchdowns, okay? 2016, that was his breakout year. Second year in the league, had over 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns, had 80 receptions, 879 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1,100 yards from scrimmage, 2,100 yards from scrimmage, and 20 total touchdowns. All right. That is obviously great. Okay. Le'Veon Bell puts up those kind of numbers, but not like that. But Le'Veon Bell has been in the league for a while longer. Le'Veon's been in the league since 2013. His rookie year, he had 860 yards, 8 touchdowns, 45 receptions, 399 yards, no touchdowns there. 2014, made the Pro Bowl that year. Let's see. He had rushed for over 1,300 yards, had 8 touchdowns. 83 receptions, 854 yards, 3 touchdowns there. Had over 2,200 yards from scrimmage, 11 total touchdowns. Let's see, 2015, he only played 6 games there. I think that's when he blew out his knee. 2016 was suspended for the first 4 games of the season, I believe it was. Had over 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, 75 receptions, 616 yards, 2 touchdowns there. And then this past year, the dude was a beast. Most carries in the league, 321. Nearly 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, 85 receptions, 655 yards, 2 touchdowns there. I think right now the debate for best running back in the league is between David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott is there yet, but let's look at Ezekiel Elliott's stats. Because, we just have his rookie year to go off of. This year was out for 6 games. So, let's see. 2016, his rookie year, ran for 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns, averaged 108 yards per game, which was best in the league. 32 receptions, 363 yards, 1 touchdown there. 1,900 yards from scrimmage, nearly 2,000, was 6 yards away from 2,000 yards from scrimmage. And then in the games he played this past year, 10 games, 983 yards, 7 touchdowns, 98 yards per game. And he had 26 receptions, 269 yards, over 1,200 yards from scrimmage, okay? Ezekiel Elliott, I think, is just too young right now and just hasn't done enough to be considered the best running back in the league. All right, but he'll get there. Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, I think you could say Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson, I think you could say, are the top 2 running backs, okay? And with David Johnson, I think it's just a matter of, I guess it's just, if he didn't get hurt this past season, then he's up there. Because David Johnson, he is one of those running backs that, how do you say, he does affect his team, meaning that like, the Cardinals don't really work without him, okay? And I guess this past season, I mean, they did go 8-8 without him, but it's just a matter of, he is that, how do you say, that game changer, okay? The Steelers, I think, could win games without Le'Veon Bell, although it'd be tough. I mean, they did that 1 year with D'Angelo Williams, didn't they? And it's just with David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell, it's just a matter of who you think does their job the best, okay? Because, I mean, honestly, I'm going to tell you this. David Johnson's 2016 year, I did not realize that he had 80 receptions, 879 yards, and 40 touchdowns. I completely forgot about that. All right? Forgot about the fact that he ran for over 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. Okay? But now it's just a matter of, I guess we got to wait and see what happens this year between the two to determine, I guess, who is the best running back in the league. And obviously, like I said, this is all opinionated and all that. I mean, obviously, there's not going to be no factual best player in the best running back in the league. Okay, but I do think right now it is between David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. And I know Cowboys fans are probably listening to this thinking, like, what's wrong with you? How could you not have Ezekiel Elliott? But in reality, Ezekiel Elliott, he's only played 1 full season. Okay? That's it. And I understand David Johnson, his first year, only started 5 games, but nonetheless, he showed us what he could do in that second season. That dude's built like a tank, too. All right. And with my other running backs, like I said, I got LaShawn McCoy, Todd Gurley is to round out my top 5. I think right now it'd be Le'Veon Bell for me, then David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, and then LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy's been out here doing it for a while. Okay? Started off with the Eagles, now with the Bills. He's been in the league since 2009. Has had 6 years with over 1,000 yards. His best year was in 2013 with Philly. Ran for over 1,600 yards. Averaged 100 yards per game there. Hasn't really came close to that since. His best year with Buffalo has been 1,267 yards. But other than that, I mean, it's not really hit over the 1,300 yard mark. I still don't know why the Eagles traded LaShawn McCoy. That still doesn't make sense to me. All right. I think was that Chip Kelly who did that? Isn't that the year where you got rid of LaShawn McCoy, got rid of Deshaun Jackson? Didn't they get rid of him the same year? That makes no sense to me. Trade him for Kiko Alonso. And that just did not work out whatsoever. But nonetheless, LaShawn McCoy he's played it 9 years so far. How old is the guy? He's got to be at least around 30, right? Yeah, I think he's got to be around 30 right now. At least. But nonetheless, the dude's been causing havoc in the AFC East for a while. Miami can't seem to stop him. New England can't stop him. The Jets can't stop a cold. All right, and then you got Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley's probably the most intriguing running back in my top 5 because of the fact that he had one really good year in his rookie year, ran for over 1,100 yards, played 13 games. All right, 10 touchdowns. Let's see, receptions, had only 21 receptions, no touchdowns there. 2016 was a real down year for him, played 16 games, started all of them. Only 885 yards, 6 touchdowns. Let's see, received 327 receiving yards, so not great. And then 2017 just exploded, over 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, which I think led the league as far as rushing touchdowns go. 788 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns there. Over 2,000 all-purpose yards from scrimmage and 19 total touchdowns. Okay, with Todd Gurley, I think that his biggest problem in 2016 was that he was playing for Jeff Fisher, And that team did not know how to run offense to save its life. Okay, it was always stack the box since they don't have a good quarterback back there. All right, and with Jared Goff out there, he looked lost his rookie season. I'm not sure if it was a Jeff Fisher problem or if it was just a Jared Goff problem getting into the league. But nonetheless, no quarterback that they put out there that season looked good. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why Todd Gurley didn't play well. But either way, like I said, those are my top 5 right there. David Johnson, I think, I'm very curious to see what the Cardinals do this season. I think they could be a sleeper team in the NFC West because of the fact that you do have Sam Bradford, and Sam Bradford is a very safe quarterback. You got Larry Fitzgerald. You got a perfect mixture of young and veteran players on defense, and you get David Johnson. Okay, obviously you don't need Sam Bradford to go and pretty much run the offense, have it go through him, and be this lights out quarterback. But I think with him out there and David Johnson playing well now that he's 100% healthy, that could be a team that could do some damage. Okay, as far as the Steelers go, obviously we know what kind of team they are. Still the top team in the AFC North, and yeah, that's all you could say about the Steelers right now. As far as the Bills go, they need a quarterback. LaShawn McCoy has played well, but the guy just hasn't really, the team hasn't done much with him. The Cowboys is going to be interesting to see what goes on with them this season. All right, Philadelphia Eagles, best team in that division right now. Dallas, obviously a completely different team with Zeke out there, so it'll be interesting to see. And obviously, it's been well documented as far as me talking about him. Todd Gurley and the Rams, okay? Brought in Sue, brought in Peters, brought in Talib, brought in Cooks. Should be a very good team. Should be a very dynamic offense. So we'll see about it. But yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts on all the running backs. Those are my top 5 running backs right now. Guys like Leonard Fournette and a couple of other ones are on the come up. Derrick Henry, guys like that. Let's see. Running backs who are just outside there. You got Jordan Howard. Yeah, Jordan Howard's one who's right outside. Let's see. J.J. I think is a top 10 running back, but kind of. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram is up there. Devontae Freeman. Yeah, so there's a lot of good running backs in the league. Finally starting to come up. Hopefully Le'Veon Bell gets that big deal that he's been wanting. So all these other running backs start getting paid. But either way, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to talk about the quarterback draft classes so far. Pretty much just give my thoughts on them since we got a bunch of intriguing options this year. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. So far today, we've talked RG3, we've talked running backs, and now we're going to be talking quarterback, different draft classes, all right? Like I said, I was thinking about how much the draft class this year has been talked about as far as the quarterbacks go, seeing how many can go in first round this year. It's looking like there's going to be a lot. At one point, I figured that with all the veteran quarterbacks being signed, that there was only going to be about 2 or 3 quarterbacks going in the first round, but it's looking like we could see 3 quarterbacks going with the first 3 picks. And I'm not sure if that's just a matter of the media trying to drive it up, because obviously when quarterbacks are getting taken very early, that's going to keep the ratings up. So maybe it's something like that. But like I said, we got guys like Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Am I missing anyone else? No, I think that's it right there pretty much. Obviously, you got guys like Mason Rudolph and Luke Falk, but those guys aren't going until maybe 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds around there. But either way, like I said, a bunch of different quarterbacks. Not sure really who's going where. I figured it'd be Darnold to the Browns first, Allen to the Jets. Let's see, who's got the 4th pick? The Browns, they're not taking a quarterback. let's say the Bills trade up somewhere in that top 10. Let's give them Rosen. Actually, I think I've been seeing it like Mayfield. Let's say Mayfield goes to the Bills, and then Rosen could go to Miami. That's how I see it right now. But then again, I'm like, that's all me thinking that maybe the Broncos aren't going to be taking a quarterback. I mean, you took Case Keenum. You signed Case Keenum. That's only for a 2-year deal, though. Obviously, he's going to be the starter, but it's just like if you expect Case Keenum to do well this season, you don't really take a quarterback in the first round if you're trying to win now, at least. Like I said, it's very difficult to decide like who's going where and all that. I really have no clue. I mean, the Giants could end up taking a quarterback. Like I said, the Broncos could. The Bills could end up trading up. Maybe Miami trades up, which I highly doubt there. If you trade up for a quarterback, you got to start him week 1, and Miami's just simply not going to do that. You got Tannehill, who Gase has said is going to be the starter going into the season, so you just don't do that. So maybe someone falls to Miami, but I doubt it. Maybe they go with a guy like Lamar Jackson, possibly maybe in the second round. I'm curious to see, too, where Lamar Jackson goes. And he's got to go to a team that's going to be the perfect fit, so we'll see about it. But like I said, quarterbacks have me intrigued. All right, this could be a very good draft class. Could be a very bad quarterback draft class. I think it's going to be more so better than not because of the fact that it's looking like these quarterbacks are all going to be sitting for a year at least. So we'll see about it. But let's look at the other quarterback draft classes. Okay, like we mentioned RG3 earlier in the segment, he came from a very good draft class. Okay, let's see. You have Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Tannehill, Griffin, and Cousins in that draft class. Okay, I think Osweiler went in that class too. And Osweiler, I mean, he hasn't been the greatest quarterback by any means, but he's still in the league. So that's got to mean for something as far as that draft class. All right, but I mean, that draft class has produced Russell Wilson, who's won a Super Bowl, Andrew Luck, who's been to an AFC Championship game, Tannehill, who has been the guy where you're waiting for him to take the next step. RG3 was on his way to being a top quarterback until he got all those injuries, and Kirk Cousins is the highest paid quarterback as far as guaranteed money, I believe, in the league right now. All right, first quarterback to get a fully guaranteed deal, I feel. Okay. And, I mean, that draft class, if we had to rank the quarterbacks, I'd go Wilson 1, Luck 2, Cousins 3, Tannehill 4, and then RG3 5. RG3 could have ended up being better than Tannehill, but it's just a matter of Griffin has not played enough so far. Russell Wilson, obviously, we know he's a top, I consider him a top 6 quarterback. He's kind of on the verge of that 5. If I had to go with my top quarterbacks right now, it'd be Brady. Let's see, yeah, Brady. This isn't in any order. I'm just naming quarterbacks I think better than Wilson. Go Brady. Let's see. NFC North. Do I think Big Ben is better than Russell Wilson right now? I think possibly. Let's go Big Ben number in that top 5. We'll go. This is tough. I think Wilson might end up cracking the top 5. Brady, Roethlisberger. Bree? No, I gotta go Wilson ahead of Breeze. Rodgers, Stafford. I think Wilson makes that top 5. Yeah. I do think Stafford is better, but Wilson is in my top 5, I guess. He's number 5. I don't know. Is he better than Stafford? I don't think so. I don't know. Wilson does affect winning more than Stafford does. So I guess you could say he's better than Stafford at that point, but I don't know. It's just a matter of who you like better. I think Stafford is the more complete quarterback. It's just a matter. I don't know. Wilson's got that it factor, that win factor right there. All right, so yeah, Russell Wilson, top 5 quarterback. Andrew Luck, when he's healthy, is a top 5 quarterback. Tannehill, like I said, he's the ultimate. This is his year. He's going to be able to do it this season type guy. All right, let's see. Tannehill has been a weird quarterback. Restructured his deal this season. And he hasn't. It looked like in the year they made the playoffs, that was the best year of his career, and then he tore his knee, and then he chose not to get surgery. So training camp comes and he completely tears it during there, and it looked like that was maybe going to be the year where he finally was that top quarterback for Miami. So I guess we're gonna have to wait till this season to see what goes on there. Plus, I mean, there's the whole idea of them possibly drafting a quarterback. So it's kind of weird for Tannehill. I mean, Tannehill I just don't think that. I don't know. He's a mid-tier quarterback, I feel. But we'll see about it. But either way, that is a pretty good draft class. And like I said, with Kirk Cousins, I mean, I think that Minnesota could be a possible Super Bowl contender. They are a Super Bowl contender. But it's just a matter of, I think Kirk Cousins possibly could get him there. All right. And I'm just curious to see how well he does going from, I mean, the dude was putting up big numbers with the Redskins, and they really had no talent. And now he's going to a team with, like, it's a complete upgrade all around. So I'm very curious to see how well he's going to be playing. Minnesota paying him all that money could be justified if he just has a career year this season. That's all he needs. All right. And like I said, with Robert Griffin III, was on his way to being a top 10 quarterback, but it's just pretty much the guy just didn't work out because of injuries. All right. We'll see what happens after this season. See if Joe Flacco maybe is bad enough to the point where he gives him some time to play. All right. Then you get the 2005 draft. Gave us 2 quarterbacks still in the league. All right. Well, 4 of them still in the league, I guess you say. 2 of them hanging by a nail. 1 of them out. You got Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jason Campbell, Matt Castle. Matt Castle went 11-5 with the Patriots the year Tom Brady tore his knee. Ryan Fitzpatrick had 1 very good year with the Bills. Got paid, I think it was. Since has been a backup. Jason Campbell was a nice little quarterback for the Redskins. And then you got Rodgers and Smith. Obviously, Rodgers is the best quarterback from this draft class. And actually, you know what I'm going to do too? When I'm done talking about all these draft classes, we're going to go through 5 of them. When I'm done talking about them, I'm going to give my best quarterback out of all 5. All right? That's what we're going to do. So, yeah, like I said, Rodgers obviously the best quarterback in this draft class, no doubt. Alex Smith, very good quarterback, I feel. Alex Smith has been a real safe quarterback. I feel like Alex Smith's Alex Smith's career really didn't take off till Harbaugh got there. And I can't really knock Alex Smith for that because of the fact that the 49ers organization was a dumpster fire since Jeff Garcia left to Harbaugh getting there. In that little period, they were bad. They were terrible. Okay? And that's just crazy to think that Jeff Garcia was a decent quarterback for that team. But nonetheless, I mean, it's just a matter of, it just didn't work out for Smith really in SF because of the fact that when he got concussed, Kaepernick takes over. And Kaepernick played well for that team. Extremely well. Okay, you had Ron Jaworski. Remember? Do you remember what Ron Jaworski said? I'm almost positive it was Ron Jaworski. Said that Kaepernick could end up becoming one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And Kaepernick was that dynamic. No doubt about it. Okay? But it's just a matter of, I mean, that team lost talent. Harbaugh left. Everyone retired there. But getting back to this draft class, I mean, as far as like ranking a draft class, seeing how good it is, you got to see the longevity of the careers of the quarterbacks if they're still in the league. 4 out of these 5 quarterbacks are still in the league. Yeah, 2 of them are backups, but one's going to become the highest paid quarterback in maybe a matter of months. And Alex Smith has a nice little deal with the Redskins. All right. Aaron Rodgers is, honestly, might be one of the most talented, might be the most talented quarterback of all time. Alex Smith is just a guy where it's kind of, he's got this narrative about him, but I'm not sure how true it still is, okay? The whole, he's a safe quarterback, game manager. Last year, he was not a game manager. Threw for 4,000 yards, I think 27 touchdowns, only 5 picks. Played really well last season. I think the Chiefs led the league in 20-plus yard plays, all right? So it's a very solid quarterback class right there. Let's see, 2012 was a nice one, like I said, we talked about that. 2004 is a very good class, too. 2004 is better than the ones I just mentioned. It was Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Matt Schaub, J.P. Lossman. Okay, those are probably the best 5 quarterbacks out of that class. J.P. Lossman, wasn't that the Bills quarterback? All right. J.P. Lossman's more so like kind of the outlier in this class. Matt Schaub was a very good quarterback for the Texans. All right. Eventually, he did become known for the pick sixes, but it's just a matter of he did play well. All right. Was a guy who, I don't think did the Texans ever make the playoffs with him? I think they did a couple of times, but it's just a matter of when they finally started getting good, Matt Schaub started going down. So, I mean, you can't really fault him there. And then you got Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning. Eli Manning's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Roethlisberger, I think, is Roethlisberger a first ballot Hall of Famer? I think he could be. Rivers, I think, could possibly be a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Rivers is 8th all-time in passer rating and touchdowns. He's 10th all-time in completion percentage. He's got the AFC Championship game he played with a torn ACL. I mean, is Rivers a Hall of Famer? I think he's going to get in, but it's just a matter of when is he going to get in. But Roethlisberger and Eli Manning for sure are Hall of Famers. Eli Manning is I don't know. Would you say Eli Manning is the best quarterback from this draft class? I would say so. I think Manning has better all-time stats than Roethlisberger, and I think we'd have to double-check that. But yeah, Eli Manning I know is top 7 in both touchdowns and passing yards. Got 2 touchdowns. I think he's top 20 in interceptions. Usually the quarterbacks in that little list, they're pretty good. Brett Favre, I think, leads the history in the NFL in interceptions, so there's that. Yeah, this is a very good quarterback class here, too. Let's see. 1971 is one that gets brought up. Ken Anderson, Joe Theismann, Jim Plunkett, R.G. Manning, Len Dickey, all guys before my time. I couldn't really tell you too much about them. All right, but I know Joe Theismann is a name. Archie Manning obviously is a name. Jim Plunkett was a good quarterback, and Ken Anderson too. That's all I can tell you about those guys. All right, way ahead of my time. And then there's the 83 class that's kind of immortal. All right, Dan Marino, John Elway, Jim Kelly. I could just stop right there. Dan Marino, if he would have won one Super Bowl, would probably be regarded as the best quarterback of all time and still would be. All right, I'd go as far to say he has more talent than Tom Brady. It's just Brady's got the resume now. All right, and I'm not trying to say Brady is not talented or anything like that. It's always gonna be careful when you're talking quarterbacks, especially Tom Brady. But yeah, Dan Marino, if he gets one Super Bowl, is the best quarterback of all time. John Elway got 2 at the end of his career, is a very good quarterback, top 10 for sure. Jim Kelly was a very good quarterback. Went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. The three of them have 10 Super Bowl appearances combined. I mean, Jim Kelly, if not for all those years that they lost, would probably be regarded as one of the best of all time, too. He's kind of like a Dan Marino. Wasn't as talented, so I guess he needed the Super Bowls to be regarded up there. Marino was good enough to where he couldn't win a Super Bowl, and he's top 5 all time. Top 3 all time, probably. Phillip Rivers is kind of like Jim Kelly, I guess you could say. All right, and again, I didn't watch Kelly play or anything like that because I was too young. But Rivers never won a Super Bowl. Kelly, I don't think ever won a Super Bowl, but both very good quarterbacks. So, yeah, the 83 class, by far, I think you could say is the best class. I'd go 83. I'm going to leave 71 out of it. We'll go 83. I'm going to go 2004, 2012, and then 2005. All right, but nonetheless, let's see. Who's the best quarterback out of all of them? Let's rank the quarterbacks, actually. Let's go with my top 5 quarterbacks from these draft classes. We'll go Marino, number 1. Okay. I'm going to go Rodgers, number 2. Elway, number 3. And this is where it gets tough. I'll go Manning, number 4. And then who's my 5th? Would it be Big Ben? I think it might be Big Ben. Big Ben or Jim Kelly, maybe? I'm going to go Big Ben. I think that's number 5, okay? Sorry, Jim Kelly. Big Ben's got some Super Bowls. But yeah, either way, I mean, like I said, very intrigued to see what goes on with this draft class because of the fact that this class is lucky because of the fact that they're going to be able to, they're going to be able to develop. They're not going to be starters from week 1. Unless some of these teams say, yeah, we have open quarterback competition and one of the veterans just thinks it up. But yeah, that's one thing that got my mind going as far as draft classes is this year. We got a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of them who have a lot of talent. It's just a matter of if they develop right enough. So we'll see about it. But yeah, this was a fun segment. Wanted to talk about the quarterback draft classes there, the best ones. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to talk about the Alliance of American Football, talk about players I want to see maybe, and talk about anything else going on in the world of football. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. So for this segment, Brandon Cooks had his press conference today with the Rams. All right, and we're going to talk about, not Brandon Cooks since we talked about him on, Tuesday's show, I think it was? Talking about Tuesday's show. We're going to talk about more so, spin it over to what's next for Odell Beckham Jr. and the Patriots, and also, still got my Alliance of American Football idea. As far as that goes, I mean, in order for it to be popular, like I said, you got to get the names out there, okay? And I'm not sure what names are out there for them to get. Maybe you can get a Trent Richardson type where I think he's on Baltimore's roster right now, actually. And yeah, I think he's in Baltimore's roster. And I mean, Trent Richardson, I don't really see him making that team, to be honest. You got Buck Allen and what's the other guy's name? I can't believe I'm forgetting him. Buck Allen, and who's the 34? Alex Collins. Yeah, so you got those two out there. I really don't see a spot for Trent Richardson. Maybe you could see him in there. Maybe you get a guy like Colin Kaepernick over to the Alliance of American Football. And they really got to do something about that name, too. I mean, would it be the AAF? Alliance of American Football? Yeah, so the AAF, double AF. I don't know. I don't like it. They should really fix something with it. And as far as the Alliance of American Football goes, that's bad news for the XFL. They're going to be coming in a year after. Alliance of American Football already has a TV deal. XFL has no TV deal. Good old Vinnie Mac might just need to pull it from the end and say, you know what, we're done. But either way, like I said, you got guys like Kaepernick who possibly play, Trent Richardson, maybe Johnny Manziel. I don't know. Who else? Who else am I missing? I don't know. Maybe you go see what Justin Blackman's doing. Justin Blackman, that's an all-time sad story right there. Dude was not all-time talent. Dude was one of the most talented receivers in the league, I feel. All right. Didn't really put up huge numbers or anything like that, but you knew he was on his way towards that, and then it's just a matter of couldn't stay out of trouble. All right. That's where Josh Gordon was headed, but it seems like Josh Gordon has his head on straight. Yeah, maybe you get a guy like Justin Blackman playing in the AAF, possibly. Who else? There's got to be other guys out there that want a shot. Maybe Adrian Peterson, when it's all said and done, you throw him a lot of money, have him go play over there. It's possible. I mean, Peterson's only got maybe one more year left. I don't even think he's been signed by anyone yet, has he? Yeah, I think Adrian Peterson's still a free agent. Unless I am just completely... Did he go back to Arizona? I have to double check where Adrian Peterson currently is. Adrian Peterson, I feel like we were kind of cheated out of Adrian Peterson's career. All right. He tore his knee, and then didn't he get suspended for a bit because of that whole situation with him and his child? He hit him with a stick, I think, or something like that. Let's see. So, 2014, he only played one game that year. 2016, only played 3 games. 2017, only played 4 games with the Saints and played 6 games with the Cardinals. He averaged 3.5 yards with the Cardinals, 2 touchdowns. Wasn't great. Adrian Peterson was... I honestly, Frank Gore is going to be top 4 all-time in rushing yards once he gets 76 yards with Miami. But it's like Adrian Peterson should have been up there. And I feel like, I just feel like we were cheated, honestly, from Adrian Peterson. But nonetheless, maybe like I said, maybe that's a guy we could see over there. But yeah, let's talk about what's next for Odell Beckham Jr., all right? I mean, who else would want him? Who else could afford him? Maybe a team like the Titans, who still got cap? Maybe even possibly the San Francisco 49ers. But do the 49ers, do they... And Odell Beckham Jr. could be getting traded on draft day. Would you give up the 9th pick for him? All right. And the way you do that is, do you think that whoever you take at the 9th pick would be better, or would you rather just use the pick on OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr.? All right. And I think it's a matter of, I don't know. Let's say that the Giants, straight up, it'll be the first and the 4th pick possibly for him. You'll probably get a pick back from the Giants. I don't know. Is he worth the 9th pick? I think he'd work out in San Francisco. You got Jimmy Garoppolo there. All right. Yeah, you had Jimmy Garoppolo. You got your number 2 and number 3 receivers already. Solid tight end, George Kittle. Offensive line does need some work. It's just a matter of, do you feel that OBJ, that's Odell Beckham Jr., do you feel like that's worth enough because of the fact that you still got to fix up your secondary and linebacking position? I don't know. If I'm the 49ers, though, that's a move I look into. But even then, so that's a lot of money you're going to have to be giving a guy. So maybe they stay away and figure Jimmy Garoppolo can make the guys we have look better, or you just end up taking a receiver in the draft. Maybe like a Christian Kirk, possibly. I doubt he falls out of the first round. I think James Washington's a receiver out of Oklahoma State who you could look at. Calvin Ridley, I don't see him getting out the first round. So, San Francisco's got some options there. Tennessee, maybe. You got Corey Davis. Odell Beckham Jr. would be a nice little, not a compliment, but a nice little change of pace on the other side of the field. Obviously, Corey Davis is more so a go up and get it type guy, but Odell Beckham Jr. is a guy where he does everything pretty well. More route runner, catch the ball well. Not the fastest guy, but, can get open. Maybe that's a spot there. The Bears already got their receivers. I mean, the Browns, they do have tons of cap space, and they do have the picks to do it. It'd be quite bold if they were to try and do that, but it is a possibility there. Let's see, anyone else? The Bucks already re-signed Mike Evans. Let's go, Colts possibly, but I don't see that happening. I'm not sure. I feel like with the videos that came out and now it's just the narrative is being spun that he's a diva now. And people don't really want that anymore. So I guess with Odell Beckham Jr., I'm just not sure. Just not sure, really, what's left for him. And I'm sure the Giants just don't want to deal with him anymore. And they don't want to pay him all that money either. All right. But, we'll see about that. As for the Patriots, I mean, what do? I threw on the idea that maybe they trade up. But I'm kind of talked myself down from that because of the fact that they've never done that before. So, their team, are they going to be going with, you lost Amendola, you lost Cooks. They had to be picking up a receiver, right? That has to be happening. Maybe you give up your 2 picks for OBJ. I think the Giants said the rumor was that they were looking for 2 first-round picks. It's a possibility there. All right? Odell Beckham Jr., he's not really a loudmouth type guy. I think he could fit in with the Patriots. I think that could work out. That'd be probably the best thing for his career. You go play for the Patriots, that's going to take away your whole diva status. People love Randy Moss when he went to the Patriots. That's a possibility. I think I could see that happening too there. Anywhere else? What else could the Patriots do? I'm curious to see what they do at the quarterback position for the draft. Do you go and you take a guy in the first round? Or do you wait for the middle rounds like you did with the Jimmy Garoppolo? I'm not sure. The Patriots, I'm very intrigued as to what they got going on after the next 2 years. Are they going to be setting up Josh McDaniels, or is it scorched earth? And Josh McDaniels is going into a rough situation there with that team because of the fact that, I mean, you're going to be following Brady, Belichick. You're going to have to continue the winning tradition, or else they're going to run him out of Boston. Foxborough, I should say. Those Boston fans, man, they'll get you. But yeah, so that's actually going to wrap it up for today's show. Today, what we talk about today? We talked about RG3. All right, he's back in the league. Robert Griffin III, going to be playing for the Ravens, going to be the backup quarterback this year. He probably could get some time because Joe Flacco just hasn't looked good the last couple of years. Talked about my top running backs in the league. Give my idea of who's the best running back. I'd say it's Le'Veon Bell, but David Johnson's right there. Talked about the best quarterback draft classes of all time. I ended up bringing him. I think I went, Marino number 1 from the draft classes that we talked about. And I think I went Elway 2, Rodgers 2, Elway 3, I think. Who did I go 4? I can't remember. I think I went Eli Manning 4 and then Big Ben 5. So, yeah, and then for this segment, talked about some players I'd like to see in the Alliance of American Football. And then we talked about the Patriots and Odell Beckham Jr. So, thanks for listening to today's podcast. This is the GSMC Football Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back next Tuesday, so stay tuned, and we will talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.